welcome back to the channel. And earlier today the developers of Dune Awakening did a little update for us, which was very nice of them. So we've got this young lady having a chat with one of the devs and they give us a few details, and I'm going to try and make this quite quick. This is going to be a TLDR that just goes over some of the main points that they cover. So the first thing they tell us is that the developers of the game got to go and visit the sets that were used in the first Dune film. They got to go and have a look at the ornithopters and things like that, which sounds really good. This game apparently has been created on the Unreal 5 game engine. I know nothing about game development, but they were all very excited about Unreal 5. And Unreal 5 allows them to use Lumen technology, which allows for better light bouncing. Now, I thought that was a bit of a yawn at first, but then they gave some examples. And I think the light technology looks really, really good. It's quite impressive. Some other technology they're using is nanite technology that allows them to create highly detailed landscapes. Again, it looks very impressive. All the detail appears to be quite pin sharp. When we start the game, apparently the first thing we'll hear is the hiss of a sandworm. I think we actually get dumped out into a cave. But very soon we're out in the desert and a sandworm chases you, and if you're not fast enough, if you can't make it to solid ground, then the sandworm will get you. So it's a little bit more exciting than Conan Exiles, because the only thing nasty that happens to you at the start of Conan Exiles is that this big bat thing screeches at you, then runs off. So it's going to be a little bit more dangerous in Dune Awakening. As you might expect, your biggest problem is a lack of water. In the early game you can find water in dew fields, or by munching on plants, but it seems that if you rely on plants too much you get sick and start throwing up, so that's not a long-term solution. But another way of getting moisture is to kill other players and presumably NPCs and drink their blood, so that's charming. So in the early game, before you get a still suit, water is going to be the biggest issue you face essentially. Crafting is going to be a big part of the game. Everything you use and wear and all the machinery and your building materials etc. have to be mined in the world. So just like Conan, we'll be out mining stone, also iron and copper, and forging steel. But also like Conan, I'm guessing that there will be items lying about that you can utilise. So although you can make everything, some things you'll probably just find lying around in the world here and there. And that's something we've covered in the past, I think. Looting of old stations and wrecked ships is going to be quite a big thing. Base building is based on the system in Conan, but there's going to be a co-op building system that allows you to create bases with other players. And the idea seems to be that you can create like a hologram image of a base that other people then fill in for you. Something like that. I wasn't too sure how that worked. But as well as building bases, you can also create blueprints for them. And then you can give those blueprints to your friends or sell them in the market. Which sounds a really good idea, I must say. Yeah, the dev mentioned that he'd been really impressed by the buildings that you see in Conan Exiles and thought it would be quite a nice idea if, you could build a fantastic base and then give the plans to someone else. There's going to be a full leveling system in the game, and there's going to be like 4 main sections to that. There's going to be a melee skills, ranged weapon skills, an abilities tree, and also one for vehicles. So abilities are something like you could be a Bene Gesserit, for example, and use mind control to help you get along in fights, sort of lure people to you or tell them to bugger off, I suppose. Or you could be a sword master, and there's also going to be like a trooper skill or something like that, where you can use sugar wire as like a grappling hook and use that wire to scramble all over the scenery. However, you're not stuck with one skill tree. You can combine skills across different trees. So you could be a mechanic who specialises in vehicles, but also have some Bene Gesserit abilities as well, that kind of thing. And in your character creation, you choose a mentor as part of that. And your mentor will have taught you some basic skills in whatever skill tree you want to specialise in. So it's a little bit like Conan Exiles, where you choose a religion at the start of the game. That doesn't stop you picking up other religions along the way, but it just gives you a little bit of a head start. Within the game there are going to be various mentors who teach you skills, and they will send you out on missions. Once you've completed a mission, they didn't give any examples, but once you've completed one, your skills will be bumped up. Other ways to collect missions are through a journey system. So again, like Conan Exiles, we've got our journey steps. There will be something similar in this game, and the journey steps will encourage you to go out and perform certain tasks. And there's also going to be a contract system, at the spice exchange. There's going to be a huge central exchange in the game, and you can go there and pick up a contract, and then fulfilling that contract will, send you out into the world to learn more about it. There's also going to be the factions like the Atreides and the Harkonnens, and you don't have to join a faction if you don't want to, but you will come across factions within the game, and the factions will give you tasks that you can complete if you like, and the more tasks you complete for a faction, the higher you get in the hierarchy. There's also going to be tasks handed out by the Landsrat, and those can be achieved by a member of any faction. So for example, the Landsrat might throw out a mission, and then it becomes a race between all the other factions as to who actually completes it first, which sounds rather jolly. So if you don't want to, you don't have to join a faction at all. You can stay out of politics altogether. You can just play by yourself or with friends. There's going to be a grouping system that will allow people to find each other. But essentially you can play the game however you like. So one of the examples they gave was that you could just become a crafter and you could make things to sell to other players, or you could become an architect, you could design buildings and then sell or give those designs to people. Or if you had an ornithopter, for example, you could become a scout and sell maps showing spice locations, again in the exchange to other players. So there's all different ways to play the game. There's also going to be an area called Shifting Sands, and this is going to be a full PvP area, where the whole area is swept by a sandstorm every week and then completely rebuilt. And I had thought that that system would apply to the whole planet of Arrakis, and beyond a few central locations, I thought the whole of the desert would constantly be wiped clean and new things and new locations unearthed. But now that system is apparently only going to be applied to a limited area. I don't know how large the area is, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be the whole planet. So that was about it really, that was the main points. The beta has been running for a number of months now, and they're slowly inviting more and more people to join. So if you put your name on the waiting list, you shouldn't have to wait too much longer before you hear something. I suppose some of us will never hear though, but hopefully you'll be lucky if you have signed up. Something else we saw in the update was quite a nice trailer, so I thought we might as well look at that to end the show. So here it is.
Arrakis is a test. Few survive it. Arrakis is a test. Few survive it. But the humans that do awaken.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you found it useful, and I hope to see you again for the next episode. And until I do, I shall say good night. Okay then, cheerio.